Hello guys, Robot1 here coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video, and in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video we're going to be looking at the 10 theme structure decks that are could potentially come out as a structure deck, and today basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about each theme, talk about what you could potentially get from the structure deck, that if they do release it in the TCG, or if they choose not to and maybe just do it in a set like they've been doing with certain decks, and also just show you guys what I'm going to personally vote for. So let's actually get into this because I'm kind of interested. I kind of want to show you what my vote will be, and I kind of want to talk about some of these decks. So let's read this a bit. It's a bit of broken English, so please don't hate me if I stutter. But this year we will hold a structure deck theme voting project. This time, in addition to the 10th theme selected carefully, so I'm assuming this is the 10 different themes that have been selected. The theme deck of the second place will be commercialized. So I'm assuming first and second will be turned into a real structure deck, just like how they did with the Shadows and the Sacred Beasts. They also did it with the Tamers, but that was much later on. And which theme will be selected is yours. It depends on the vote. I'm assuming this means which theme is chosen is depending on your vote. So yeah, so the voting period is between June 19th and June 25th, so there's only 4 days left. So there's either only 4 or 3 days left, depending on when I actually upload this video. It's probably going to be tomorrow, on a Monday, and the results will be given on June 30th. So we've got a few decks coming out. So going out, so theme 1 will be released. So yes, it is both the two different themes, the first and second place. The first theme will be released in November 2020 in the OCG, and the second one chosen will be released in scheduled to release at some point in 2021. So we'll get both of these decks at some point. You can also, guys, if you want, you can change your vote as many times as you like during the period, but the last voted theme will be valid vote. So you basically, if you vote for something else and you want to change it, you can, but the one you change it to will be your valid vote. The content of the votes and products are subject to change without notice. So basically, the content of the vote and products are subject to change without notice. So this is basically saying if you change your vote, there's no notice given. Yeah. But yeah, let's look at the actual themes though. So first theme we have is Kuriboh. Now, myself, I really like Kuriboh. So what could they potentially give this deck Kuriboh to actually make it better? Because the Kuriboh literally have so many different forms of Kuriboh in general that it would be kind of interesting to see what they could do with it. I could see them giving them maybe an Xyz monster, that would help with their rank 4 potentials, spellcards that will let them summon multiple Kuribohs at once, maybe something that will let them search Kuriboh and multiply at the same time. There is a lot of different things you could actually do with a Kuriboh deck to kind of make it better. You could even give the deck support to make like the winged Kuribohs even better, like Winged Kuriboh level 10, Winged Kuriboh level 9. Like there's tons of different stuff you could actually do with the Kuriboh deck, and that would be really interesting to see what they could actually do. So I kind of want to vote for the Kuriboh. There are other archetypes here to vote for as well. Next, Cyber Dragons. Honestly, I don't really want to see more Cyber Dragon support. We've had literally so much Cyber Dragon support that I don't think I'm going to put my vote to it, because like I like Zane Truesday and all. He's a cool character. He was basically Jaden's ultimate rival, but then it turned out to be Chaz and everything along those lines. But he is one of those characters that is really cool, but his deck has just had so much support. I don't really think I would want to see it as a structured deck. I feel like that would be kind of unfair to the other decks on this list, so I probably won't be voting for that. But if they did add anything to it, maybe something similar to Machine Dupe for the deck itself, like something that can summon out multiple Cyber Dragons at the same time. I'm not too sure what they could actually give, because the deck actually has so much already. Morphtronics. Now, me personally, I'm not too big on Morphtronics. I don't know the deck too much. I know it relies very heavily on Cellphon, and the other phone one, the I don't know what it's actually called. It's the other cell phone. It relies very heavily on the 2 cell phone based Morphtronics. So it'd be kind of interesting to see what else they could add to that. Maybe something that would let you add Morphtronics from your deck to your hand, like a searching spell, would be really nice for the deck. I don't know if they already have that. They might, but if they don't, that would be really nice. So that could be cool. Maybe something that would also boost the Power Tool Dragon, seeing as they've got Power Tool Dragon on the artwork here, making Power Tool Dragon a lot easier, and maybe even making Livestream Dragon a lot easier, because Livestream Dragon is basically the dual dragon of Power Tool Dragon. So that would be kind of cool to see stuff like that come into the game. Star Seraphs. Now, I don't know what they could do for Star Seraphs. I think that it would be nice if they gave the deck a searching spell, so Stick and Chair could be a bit more useful. Because Stick and Chair is really the only good way to play Star Seraphs in any way, because that engine was the only really good way to play Star Seraphs when it was first announced. And we just didn't get the Stick or the Chair for so long that it just never became a good archetype, and it was only used as an engine in decks like Satellanites and any other rank 4 based deck, and also Shadows. But for what they could give it, maybe a search spell, a new Xyz monster would be nice, actually. If they gave the deck its own Xyz monster that isn't a number monster, that could potentially make the deck a little more consistent, give it a rank 4, give it a triple Xyz monster that could be really useful, because that's how the deck really works. It relies on summoning free material Xyz monsters, so that would be something really nice, giving it a new Xyz monster, maybe a search spell as well. Potentially a spell that could literally just say if you control 2 Star Seraph monsters, maybe draw a card, or you can discard a Star Seraph in your hand to draw a card, would be really nice. Super Heavyweight Samurais. Now, this deck is all monster based, so this could be really interesting to see what it could do, seeing as if you've got spells or trap cards in your deck, you can't actually utilize anything in the deck, so it'd be kind of cool to see what you could do with Super Heavyweight Samurais in that case. But what could you actually do with the deck to make it better? They already have a Link monster that allows them to summon, but maybe give it new Synchro monsters, or maybe more main deck monsters to kind of give the deck a bit more consistency, because they only really have, I believe, 2 Searcher monsters in the deck. They have the Bow, which is when it's sent to the graveyard, it searches, and also the level 4 that when it changes its battle position, you can search Super Heavyweight Samurai. I believe that's what it does. So that might be interesting to see some Super Heavyweight Samurai support from there, or maybe something that would help the deck OTK, or maybe something that could give it more hand traps as well. More Super Heavyweight Samurai specific hand traps, which say if you control Super Heavyweight Samurai, maybe discard the Super Heavyweight Samurai and negate the activation of an effect, which would be kind of cool as well, giving the deck a little more hand trap based protection, because that's something the deck kind of lacks on. It can use a ton of hand traps, but it losing out on like spells and traps, it loses a whole different margin of play for the deck, and maybe getting the deck some more negation in it would give the deck a little more ways to perform a bit better. Now, that would be something interesting in my opinion. If we saw something like that be entered into Super Heavyweight Samurais, would be kind of cool. Or even just a monster that says you contribute and summon one of your synchros from the extra deck would be nice as well. Next, Trickstar. Honestly, I don't want to see more Trickstar support. Like, the whole reason the deck isn't really doing anything in the TCG right now is because of Light Stage is at 1, and Light Stage was kind of like the bread and butter of the deck, so that losing that kind of did really hurt the deck, and it kind of lost its engine, and the Sky Striker was really important for the deck as well. But honestly, I don't think I can give my vote to Sky Strikers whatsoever, but if there was something to increase the deck, I guess something that would be more searchability, maybe give the deck some draw power instead, because that's like, the deck doesn't really have any draw power. It has searchability through Light Stage and Candina, but it doesn't really have any draw power in its own right, so maybe something that says discard a Trickstar, draw a card, or maybe something that can help with back row removal a bit more, like Light Stage has that back row removal in as well, but maybe a spell that says if you control for every Trickstar card you control, you can destroy a card on the board. So maybe something like that would be really, really nice. Ice Barriers. Now, honestly, I don't know what Ice Barriers do. I know there's supposed to be some synchro-based archetype that goes into all different plays, but whenever I've seen an Ice Barrier deck, I'm like, this deck does nothing. It's not even good. It's not able to play the game. Because, like, and I've always heard the meme that Ice Barrier is literally the worst deck in the game. So it's like, I don't know what Konami could actually give the deck. Like, what could Konami give the deck to make it competitively relevant? And I feel like you would need to give it quite a few cards, so maybe like 5 cards, maybe a search spell, a draw spell, monsters that would just allow you to make like Trishula and other ice barrier monsters a lot easier, like Brionag. It would be interesting to see what you could actually do with ice barriers, because like there's so, it's just like one of the worst archetypes in the game, like honestly. So I'm not sure if ice barriers would be a good shout to see what Konami could actually just do with that deck, because it's literally, it's always been considered one of the worst decks to my knowledge. So it'd be nice to kind of see what you could do with that there. Gusto. Now, Gusto, that would be an interesting thing to see, because Gusto has always been this deck that kind of like relies on your things popping, summon more Gustos from the deck, and then go from there. Like, kind of like similar to Yang Zing's, but it's a little different, and it also likes to go ahead and OTK your opponent by having like a U-Bell-esque effect where your opponent takes all the damage that you take. At least that's what I've seen from Gustos. And maybe adding a few cards into this deck would be really interesting. Maybe more search potential, maybe more draw potential. Maybe that something says, maybe a spell that says if your Gusto is destroyed, you can special summon an additional Gusto from your deck. So something like that could be really interesting to see what you could see from Gusto. But I'm not sure if that would be the viable choice, a really good choice here, because of obviously we wouldn't know what to do. But I would definitely rather give my vote to something that hasn't been meta in the past than something that could be meta, that has already been meta. So I might do Gusto. Now the tour guide archetype is kind of something as well that I'm a little interested to see, is because obviously we've had 3 monsters that are tour guide. We've had tour guide herself, we've had tour bus, and we've had one other one that I can't actually remember the name to. So it would be interesting to see what they could do with tour guide support. Maybe a card that specifically searches tour guide from the underworld. Maybe making all like a whole structure deck, but just with new cards that specifically work around the tour guide of the underworld and tour bus and everything along those lines. Like it would be interesting to see what they could do with that. Like making a whole sequel. Maybe making the Sangan saga into an entire structure deck. Like making a locked up Sangan. Maybe making a Sangan that's based around tour guide. Like literally, this whole story of tour guide has Sangan in it, so it'd be kind of interesting to see what they could do with that, because they could literally just add Sangan, they could add those fiends that are in the background, make them specific monsters, give them new effects, make new flavor text, maybe even put a Sangan that's locked up and maybe a bit harder now in artwork. Like that would be pretty cool, because like it's kind of like stuff like that would be really, really interesting to kind of see what you could do with tour guide. So tour guide would be an interesting way to put my vote. And finally, Kaijus. Now Kaijus have had a lot of support over the time, but they've never really been a standalone deck outside of that one point in the game where they used remove brainwashing to kind of like return cards that your opponent has of yours to your side of the board. So, and also with like Grey Dolls as well. So it would be kind of cool to see what you could actually do with Kaijus, because Kaijus, they have a lot of different things. They have obviously Kaiju Slumber, which is just a dark hole that summons 2 Kaijus from the deck, and is also a searcher card. They all have the ability, well, pretty much all of them. The robot ones don't, but they all have the ability to tribute over your opponent's monsters to kind of deal with those. But what I would like to see from like a Kaiju based structure deck is something that would allow you to control more than one Kaiju. Say like they've got Waterfront, which is a field spell that basically says you can search any Kaiju if it has like 3 or more counters on it. But I would like to see something like, I would like to see a card in Kaijus that would literally remove the clause that you can only control one Kaiju. And I know that's kind of like the thing with Kaijus, where your opponent controls one and you control one, and then there's like this big monster battle between Kaijus. But I would really, really like to see that, because even in the movies, well, the movie that I've seen is like stuff like Degola and stuff like Degola, the Mothra and Godzilla, they work together. So it'd kind of nice to see like a spell or a trap that kind of just says, oh, you can now control more than one Kaiju. So that'd be kind of cool as well, in my personal opinion, to kind of like see something like that in Kaijus overall, and it would be really interesting to kind of like to go with. But in all honesty, if I was to put my vote to anything on this list because of the thing that I'm most interested to see, like I think Kaijus would be really cool. I think Tour Guide having like tons of monsters based around her whole story with like Sangan and all these other monsters would be kind of cool. Gusto would be interesting to see what they could do with that. Ice Barrier, I would honestly, if they could make Ice Barrier meta, I would be surprised. I wouldn't want to give my vote vote to Trickstar or Cyber Dragon for the pure fact that they've just had they've been meta before. It's just not something I really like. Morphtronics would be kind of interesting if they did something around Power Tool Dragon, making it a bit more relevant, making it a bit more better. Super Heavy Samurais would also be interesting, and so would Star Series. But if I had to say what I would want to give my vote to the most, because of it's like something that I really want to see, it would be Kuriboh. I would really love to see what Konami can do with Kuriboh, because Kuriboh, I literally collect Kuribohs because I love Kuriboh overall as a monster. He's always been considered that weak card in the game that has always had potential to be really, really strong. So I would really like to see what Konami could do with a Kuriboh-based archetype. I would love to see them make like level 9 and level 10 win Kuriboh support really well. Maybe main support Kuriboh, which can summon multiply, which can set up multiply and Kuriboh at the same time. I'd really like to see stuff like this that would really make Kuriboh really cool and really interesting, because I've always really liked Kuriboh. So my vote has to go to Kuriboh. I really do love Kuriboh overall. It's just one of those archetypes that I've always personally loved. But guys, what are you going to put your votes towards? Because mine's gone to Kuriboh. I really want to see Kuriboh. But if you're going to put your votes towards anything, please tell me what they are in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what your votes are going towards. Maybe what support you could potentially see from the decks and stuff along those lines. Honestly though, if I have to say something, guys, please don't give it to Cyber Dragons and Trickstars. We've seen these decks be meta before, and I really would like to see like one of these other decks come out of the woodwork, become pure decks of their own, and just see what they could do on their own. Like something like Tour Guide, I would really love to see that, but my vote has to go Kuriboh because I just love him too much. But guys, that's the video. Don't forget to tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What are you going to vote for? What decks, what support do you think they could be made? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. But guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe. The link to this will be in the description, and I will see you guys in the next one. Rollback1 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.